we doing? Okay. Welcome. Yes, my head is shaved. You guys clap for like the slightest things. That's sort of amazing to me. Either that or it's your quiet way, well, not so quiet way of saying shut up and let us go. I'm not sure what.
Nobody clapped
we'll see. Nobody clapped for that. Okay, so I'm wrong. Okay. First, some housekeeping. I have a slide for that. No. Okay, number one, community service project that we were running last week. We had to cancel it because of the winds. Cam and I are working on rescheduling it. We're not sure when it'll happen. It's probably not going to be this quarter, so we're going to try to get it on the schedule for next quarter. Okay? So we are working on taking care of that. They were afraid of everything blowing away and fighting with everything that we were going to put in boxes and on pallets in that wind. Next, excursions. There are 2 excursions coming. Right? One is December 8th. That's the Saturday after exam week. Shaylee's on duty. Totally free trip to the LA County Museum of Art. Right next door is the La Brea Tar Pits. We will pay to get you into the art museum. We will pay the travel. All you've got to do is bring some money for some food or pack a lunch, and if you want to go to La Brea, you'll have to shell out for that. Otherwise, it's a free trip. Sign-ups are on for that. Email honors@csusb.edu to sign up, and Lana will put your name down. It's like my right-hand person over there. The other one is the Black Canyon kayaking trip. Did anybody try signing up for that, like early on after Mark Oswood announced it? No, okay. Well, the online sign-up hasn't been working, so you've got to go over to the rec center. They reserved this trip especially for the honors program. It leaves Friday afternoon. It comes back, I think you get back by 10 a.m. Sunday morning. It's camping, it's kayaking. Hot springs. There's hot springs. So definitely take a look at that. I know we've got about 5 people signed up. Only 10 can go. So there's 5 spots left, and I may snatch up one of those if you all don't. Okay, next. I gave this the wrong name, right? Yeah, so I'm going to allow myself to be corrected here. I always allow myself to be corrected. That sounded weird. And all of this is on camera. I'm really self-conscious because we're recording Colloquium from here on.
Okay.
Anyway. Yeah, I actually am going to need to talk to you about this group as well. So, another time. All right, so. Here we go. I'm going to hand you off. Woo! Oh, I didn't introduce you. Why don't you introduce yourself?
All right. Maybe I'm a little unwell, but it's okay. It's a flu season, so I expected it. So my name is Marvin Macharia, and I'm really excited today to talk about an opportunity that I think you guys would be really interested on campus to see. So I'm talking about Student Health Advisory Committee. This is a campus-wide committee that was founded in 2005 as part of a CSU-wide directive to have an organization or body that specifically focuses on student health, campus health, and is primarily led by students. And so that's how we got the Student Health Advisory Committee. And the big part that I think, and I'm really excited to share about, is that you have so much opportunity to have a significant impact on campus. So I talked to Dr. Marshall a while ago, and part of, I guess that's part of the the scope of the Student Health Advisory Committee is also mental health. So I know before in this colloquium we talked about students who are maybe going through mental health issues, and they really wanted to be able to, create a positive impact on this campus for themselves and for their friends. And this is one way you can do that. So on this committee sits the director to CAPS, the Counseling and Psychological Services, and you can have a direct connection to her, Dr. O'Keefe, and share your ideas, and we can implement changes. We can do a lot of great things for the student body. So you can go over this PowerPoint or flyer, and right under is my email address. Please contact me if you have any questions at all regarding, say, how much time it would take, which is usually not a lot. We meet 3 times in a quarter. And if you could make it to at least those meeting sessions, that would be great. And if you could just share your ideas, the people who are willing, able, and have the direct connections on campus to basically put your ideas into action. So email me if you have any questions, take a picture of that, send it to anyone who you think is interested in campus health, health in general, and how, I guess, your funds are utilized for health on this campus. So, thank you so much.
Okay, thanks, Marvin. All right, next, winter registration is next week.
Yeah.
It's a lot less enthusiastic about clapping for that. What? We got to do this again? Yes, so 2 things. Overload slips. They will not let you turn in an overload slip until open enrollment, right? So they want everybody to have a chance to register for classes before they will accept an overload slip. So a lot of people have to overload Colloquium. I'm happy to go ahead and sign any overload slips that you need to have signed for that, but the registrar will not accept them until like early December. So you'll have to hang on to those, okay? Next, if you have a class that meets at this time on Fridays next quarter, right, and there's no way you can avoid that conflict, what we will do is a simultaneous enrollment form, okay? So you'll need to pick up a simultaneous enrollment form from the registrar. Lana is telling me yes, the registrar. And then I can help you complete that form, and that will allow you to enroll in both this class and whatever class it is you need to take. Now, what we're doing for students that are in that position this quarter, and what we'll continue to do for the rest of the year, is there's an online option that some students are doing so that they can take both that class and Colloquium. That's what the video camera's for. We are recording Colloquium now for those students. Just took us a while to get the video camera ordered. And it's snazzy, so if you want to make if you want to make a video about something, let us know. Perhaps we can check it out to you. It's ultra high definition. It's pretty sweet. Okay, any questions about the housekeeping matters? Any at all? All right, then I have done a superior, yes, I have not done a superior job of explaining. Yes, your question is?
You know the hold that's on everybody's account right now, I think it's like the sexual harassment training or something?
Oh, yeah.
Do you know when we have to do that by?
January 24th.
Okay, hang on, folks. We need a clear answer. Harmon, do you want to give an answer for that?
Yeah, it's due by January 24th. It's not a hold right now, but it'll be a hold for spring registration.
Oh.
Okay. So it's not a hold for winter registration. It will be a hold for spring registration. It needs to be done by January 24th. Okay? Other questions? All right. Then how many people remembered the introduction of where good ideas come from? Wow, we're talking like 7% of the room. I will hope for better next week when we have our first guest coming in to talk about the book. So let me give you a preview of that. Susie Pryor runs the entrepreneurship program here. She's going to be coming in to talk about chapter 1. So please do take a look at it. For those of you that read it, easy read? It is an easy read. We're not talking dense academic prose here, right? You don't become a New York Times best-selling author by writing dense academic prose. It's an easy read, and it's got a lot of interesting ideas in it, okay? So do stay on top of it for next week. Now, that being said, we're going to tackle the introduction for today. And so I want to take as a starting point sort of thinking about the different examples that Johnson gives us in the book. And for those of you that forgot to read it, this is also going to give you some insight into what he's talking about. All right? Because he gives us a diverse array of examples. So the first one he gives us is Charles Darwin. And he's talking about Charles Darwin and his study of a particular atoll reef. Anyone know what an atoll reef is? Yeah?
It's like
Real loud, Sam.
it's like a giant reef, but the strange thing is it like grows in the shape of a ring, and it kind of comes out. From a distance, it looks like just this really funky looking island, but it's actually like a whole reef sticking out to the ocean in the shape of a ring.
Yep. And what Darwin is observing is this absolutely profound contrast between the paucity of diversity on the island and the incredible diversity of life in the water, right? And he's sort of baffled by this and doesn't quite get the difference, why it's so different. Okay, but Johnson gives us this quote. Those patterns of innovation deserve recognition, in part because it's intrinsically important to understand why good ideas emerge historically, and in part because by embracing these patterns, we can build environments that do a better job of nurturing good ideas, whether those environments are schools, governments, software platforms, poetry, seminars, or social movements. So if we're getting at innovation, unpack for me why innovation, and we're going to see Darwin and Kleber and West as examples that follow this. Why is innovation a subject worth paying any attention to? Yeah, Cora?
Because it moves along our progress in the world.
Moves along our progress in the world. What do you mean by moves along?
It helps us better advance our tools and what we use in daily life.
Okay, so advancing our tools, right? Further develops them in ways that make them more efficient, more productive, brand new kinds of tools, right? We're going to see that in the book. Other thoughts as to why it's worth paying attention to innovation. Studying innovation, trying to think about how we can become more innovative thinkers. Yeah, Robert?
If you study innovation, then you can keep up with the cutting edge of it, and you can help lead that instead of getting left behind.
Okay, so studying innovation allows you to be a leader, to innovate, and to stay on that leading edge rather than falling behind. Right? Good answer. Abby?
It lets you be more broad-minded. When situations get tough, as a leader, situations always get tough. So it helps you be more quick on making decisions.
Okay, so quicker, maybe more nimble, more flexible, would you say?
Yeah.
Okay, so kind of broad-minded, flexible, nimble in your thinking, able to sort of do things that maybe you wouldn't have been able to do had you not been aware of sort of ways of being innovative, right? But pay attention to what he's saying. We can have an impact on, right? We can build environments that do a better job of nurturing good ideas, right? If we pay attention to innovation, we can build environments that encourage innovation. It's why I wanted you to read this book, right? Can the honors program be a hub of innovative thinking? That would be the school's bit. But many of you, you guys have the potential, I've said this before, to be, you're the next generation of leaders. More innovative governments, instead of using the tried and worn out ideas, trying something different and new. So we've got all kinds of places where we can become innovative. Now, let's get back to Darwin. So, don't you hate it when you don't remember all the little details you put in your PowerPoints? Okay, so to get to Darwin, we're going to play a game. Okay? It's a game of pattern recognition. And you may feel like this is a boring game that English professors like, because it involves Sam is suddenly disappointed. Oh, none of those cool computer science games. English professors know how to have fun too, Sam. Friday night, we get a cup of hot cocoa and read a Shakespeare play. All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you 3 quotations. And you've got to be thinking about what the pattern is that links these 3 quotations. All right? So that's my challenge to you. So you got to pay attention to it. So Darwin is going to give us our foundation. Yet just a few feet away from this desolate habitat and the coral reef waters, an epic diversity rivaled only by that of the rainforests thrives. This is a true mystery. Why should the waters at the Edgeman Atoll support so many different livelihoods? Got it?
No.
You just like to hear my voice. It's soothing. Everybody's nestling down. You need that cup of hot cocoa right now.
You should read an audiobook.
Okay, so pay attention to this. What do you think the key words are? What are the key ideas? Yes.
Support.
Support.
Habitat.
Maybe habitat.
Diversity.
All right, Sam, you got an idea?
Mystery.
Okay, mystery.
Diversity.
Maybe diversity. Another one?
Livelihoods.
Perhaps livelihoods. Yep. Diversity? Okay. All right, so maybe, yeah, Sam, another one?
We're saying important keywords, right?
Yeah.
I feel like a very important word in there is the question why.
The question why. Okay.
Deep.
Okay. That is deep. That is deep. Okay. So, when you look at the next quotation, and this one isn't going to be Darwin, it's going to be Kleber. You've got to use Kleber now as a filter. Some of the key words that you just rattled off, maybe they don't seem like they're relevant anymore, right? Maybe others will. Shortly after his arrival at Davis, Kleber stumbled across a mysterious pattern in his research, a mathematical oddity that soon brought a much more diverse array of creatures to be measured in his lab. Rats, ringdoves, pigeons, dogs, even humans.
Diverse.
We've got diverse, so we've got this pattern of diversity and diverse. Shaylee?
Mysterious.
Mysterious, all right? Is that where you were going, Sam? Okay. Any others jump out at you? Robert?
Measure, because both of them are studying and testing something.
Okay, so measure because both are studying and testing things, all right? Any others?
Research.
Research, all right? Yep. Nature. Okay. Yes, sir.
Arrival, because Darwin, when he arrived, he noticed the weird contrast.
Okay, nice. So we've got all kinds of patterns emerging, potentially. Okay, ready for the third one?
Oh yeah.
You're ready. And this one is about West. And West is the guy that took Kleber's ideas and applied them to a very different set of organisms. Several years ago, the theoretical physicist Geoffrey West decided to investigate whether Kleber's law applied to one of life's largest creations, the superorganisms of human-built cities. Did the metabolism of urban life slow down as cities grew in size? Was there an underlying pattern in the growth and peace of life of metropolitan systems? Madison?
I'd say investigation because they're all looking to discover something.
Okay. Investigation is definitely key. They're all looking to discover something. Colby?
Pattern.
Pattern, all right? A very meta moment. We're looking for patterns and suddenly pattern.
Wow.
What else jumps out? Yeah.
Well, two things. First of all, Johnson, but also.
Johnson has been a consistent repetition. Yeah.
And also.
Leave it to the English major to look at the citations for the pattern.
But also like organisms, and and habitats and living spaces.
Okay. Organisms, habitats, living spaces, all of those are held in common. Yeah, Rob?
What jumps out to me is the word applied, because they're all taking this core knowledge and like just using it on different situations.
Okay, so apply, using core knowledge in different situations. Other ones? Yeah?
Sure, I was gonna say, growth, because there's a theme throughout them that this life is diversifying until we get to here where humans seem to be slowing down that diversification.
Okay, so growth.
Mhm.
And when you say slowing down diversification?
It seems, well, that's what the question is here.
Okay. Yeah, it does it.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody want to pay attention to punctuation on this one?
After all questions.
Questions, question marks might be worth pointing out. Right? Okay, so here we go. My favorite game. Guess what I'm thinking? Right? I want you to take a couple minutes, talk to the people around you. What pattern do you want to go with? What pattern do you think I want to focus on? It's a very unfair game. Guess what I'm thinking? Yep. But what pattern do you think is most emergent for you? What's the most important pattern of the ones that we've raised? Okay, just take like 2 minutes to do this. Deep insights? Deep insights into this stuff? Okay. All right. Let me hear some thoughts. What do you think the most important pattern is? If you're going to guess what I'm thinking. Madison?
Connecting ideas and expanding upon them.
Connecting ideas and expanding upon them. Okay, I like it. Why do you think that emerges as like the key pattern?
Because they're all asking questions that seem to be applied upon other ideas and topics.
Okay, so because they're all because they're all asking questions that draw upon other ideas, and they're building on those ideas. Okay. Woo. Who else? Robert. This Robert.
So we're going to start something. It's called the rule of I. Inquiry leads to innovation.
Inquiry leads to innovation. All right. I like it. What made you come up with that?
Just this environment leads to that. Like it just questions.
Okay. So that was a major shout out to you guys. Robert, basically what Robert just said is you guys have created an environment in which we can ask good questions and be innovative.
Aww.
That's like intellectually sweet, right? Okay. Other thought, Liam?
Okay, so they're all
Really loud.
Oh, they're all connected because they're all trying to examine like an organism, so to speak. But the difference is that Darwin is discovering one; he's showing up and finding it. Kleiber is creating one, and so he's like creating his own environment, kind of. And then West is already growing up in that environment, so he's studying from within. And so it kind of shows that this complexity can be found in all different types of places, and you can be finding it or be part of it already.
Okay.
Wow.
That's a complex answer.
Hey.
Yeah. So they're each looking at organisms, but where you are in relation to the organism changes as you look from one to the next to the final. Okay. All right. Other thoughts about this? Freddie quickly goes from stretch to no arms up in the air. Don't call on me. Robert?
They're all expanding the same idea. Darwin came up with his ideas by observing things in the wild, and then Cleaver sat down in a lab and expanded it further with like just more subjects there. And then West was just testing what else it could be applied to.
Okay, so building and expanding and revising an idea. Right? Okay. Other thoughts about this? Okay, what if I told you that I want you to think metacognitively?
Oh.
Roll back.
Your eyes roll back in your head.
I don't think it's rolling farther.
Okay, first off, what do I mean by metacognitive thinking?
Thinking about thinking.
Thinking about thinking, yes.
Why do we think?
All right, you with me, or have I totally lost you at this point?
We'll see.
All right, folks. The sooner you be quiet, the sooner you get out of here. That's the general rule of thumb, right? So, wow, suddenly got so quiet. It's thinking about thinking. How is it that we think? How do we construct knowledge? How do we ask questions? All that kind of stuff. So, what I was thinking was that each of them sort of deals with mystery. Asking a question, right? You guys, in a lot of cases, got more complex than I did. They're looking for answers. And they see a problem that needs to be solved. Right? So in each one of these cases, they're not content to stand and look at the world and simply observe it. They want to interact with it on an intellectual level. They observe the world, but that observation leads them to a question. It leads them to a puzzle that they want to figure out. Can you think of a word for that?
Scientific research.
That's two words.
Okay, research.
Research is one word for it. I'll go even more basic.
Inquiry.
I can put cute things up as well. It's not all nerdy stuff. Okay, curiosity. Fundamentally, what it all comes down to is curiosity. So does anybody remember what I put as on the title slide? The root of innovation. Right? So, what I've done is I've read Johnson's introduction in order to try to think about what's underlying the innovative thinkers he identifies. And to my mind, what I keep seeing in those examples is curiosity. Darwin stands on an atoll and looks around and says, wait, I don't get it. I want to understand why there's so little on the island, but so much in the water.
If I may relate it to like some of the one of the senior presentations last year
Yep.
in last colloquium, I remember one of the presentations was what's the point of just asking questions for the sake of asking them. And I feel like curiosity for the sake of learning knowledge is what leads to actual steps forward with like, hey, this is really interesting, maybe we could apply this somehow. It's curiosity for the sake of scientific learning.
Just scientific learning?
Any kind of learning.
Okay, thank you. Because you alienated all the humanities people with that remark, right? Yeah, I mean, it's about asking questions because asking questions is how we learn, and the knowledge you gain can be applied elsewhere, right? So it's not just this sort of asking questions for the sake of asking questions. There's an end in mind, even if that end is just implicit, right? Okay, we're going to leave the cute picture.
Aww. Oh, words.
YouTube.
Words, yeah,
Well, can I just also relate something to?
if you do it, read aloud.
Okay, so like also talking about projects last year, there was one that was talking about like distributions and how like it was I think it was the Pareto distribution or whatever, and how like certain people are gonna have more and certain people aren't gonna have as much. But I think the reason why it's good to have like a lot of people like all being curious at the same time in a centralized location is sort of like how you didn't find because you were saying how you didn't find as much complex things from. And so if you're just one person looking at it, then statistically it's less likely that you're going to find as much as a group of people.
That is true.
Who are all looking at it.
Right, and that is one of the arguments that gets made by West, right? That innovation increases exponentially, basically. Well, not exponentially, it's just a different rate, a steeper rate, when you put more people together. So that cities are more innovative spaces than rural countrysides. Right? Because more people pushes more ideas. Okay. So, let's deal with YouTube. Because is the YouTube example from Johnson's book different? The same? Chad Hurley, Stephen Chen, and Jawad Kareem, 3 former employees of the online site PayPal, decided in early 2005 that the web was ripe for an upgrade in the way it handled video and sound. Video, of course, was not new to the web, which had begun its life 15 years before as a platform for academics to share hypertext documents. But the mechanisms that allowed people to upload and share their own videos were too challenging for most ordinary users. So Hurley, Chen, and Kareem cobbled together a rough beta for a service that would correct these deficiencies. Is this YouTube example somehow different? Is it the same? Colby?
I see a similarity in the sense that it's seeing a problem that needs to be solved, but it's less a question of why and more a question of what. It's not curiosity in the sense of how the other 3 were.
Yeah, it's kind of a problem-solving issue that's pragmatic rather than abstract, right?
Instead of a why question, it's like, how can we make this better?
Yep. How can we make it better instead of why? Robert?
Also with the previous 3, they all saw something there and tried to explain it and put a name to it, whereas in this case they saw like an empty spot to be filled and then came up with an idea to fill.
Okay, that's a good observation. The first 3 all saw something there and sought to explain. These guys saw an empty space and tried to fill it. Yeah? What else might differentiate the YouTube guys. Yeah.
I feel like on YouTube you see a lot of people that just do things based on trends. So like people produce things onto YouTube based off of like whatever the trend is on YouTube. So it's not really innovation as much as it's like copying what other people are doing.
Okay, so in the use of YouTube, we don't see innovation so much as,
Like it's not something that's like original and groundbreaking.
Right.
95% of the time.
so if the creation of it might have been, its use has been less so. That makes great sense. Other observations about YouTube being similar and different? Yeah, Robert?
I would like to say that YouTube and like even industrialization kind of stops cultivation and innovation.
So YouTube and industrialization stops innovation. How so?
Like, I guess big cities, you can just get used to like routines, and routines, quite frankly, lead to less thinking, and you can't come up with ideas if you don't sit down to come up with ideas.
But I think rural life can have routine too. Like if you live on a farm, you have a routine.
And then
So
even
maybe it's not physical, rural, or industrial, it's mental, rural, or industrial.
well, I mean,
That's meta.
That's something. Yeah, hang on, lots of hands. Let's go Sam, Liam, Robert.
well, I mean, I just want to say that it was shown by Wes that the larger a city is, it in fact comes up with more innovative ideas.
Yeah. Liam?
Maybe that's because it has more problems, and so it kind of, there's more need for innovation.
Increased problems yields an increased need for innovation, potentially. Robert?
I'd like to actually kind of disagree with the other Robert. Because if it wasn't for YouTube and making like sharing videos and large files like that popular, we'd all still be using dial-up and slow internet and barely any communication through that. But because of YouTube, we came up with new ways to send internet, much faster ways. All of a sudden we can communicate around the world huge amounts of information in seconds.
Though I think, I'm not sure Robert's, oh yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So I'd say it actually
Yep.
fostered more innovation to make it more useful in
So
a
this-
circle like that.
The ramifications of YouTube required further innovation to keep up with what YouTube was doing. Got it. Got it. All right, well, let's pull all of this, Liam, no thought?
Oh, well, I was just thinking to add, because I think you were saying that it fosters routines, which makes people lazy. Was that kind of what you were saying, or?
I think routine just cancels out thinking.
But you're saying that better technology means that more people can be kind of like get into
yeah.
routines. Is that what you're saying? Because I think that's kind of like what technology does, is it creates a new benchmark from which innovative people can kind of jump off of. And so it's like, although you've made more people have like a lazier life, then the people who are kind of like jumping off of that now have a higher place to go from, I guess.
They stand on each other's shoulders.
Kind of,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes,
Well, jumping off of what Liam was noting, was that in a sense, yes, we can get lazy when it comes to having so much information at our fingertips. But by the same token, it's also individual to the person, and as Robert was saying, their mental state. So if, for example, we have someone that's within their comfort zone and they see no problem that needs a solution within the system, then yes, in that case, they would probably stay put. But if there's someone who sees that there's always a way to improve the system and how it's running, then there's always room for more and better.
Okay, so it seems like we're, yeah, go for it.
I was just gonna say, like, for routines, like, it's always gonna change the more innovation that comes out. Does that make sense? So, like, I don't know that you could say that someone would have the same routine for their whole, you know, does that make sense? Because
It does.
you get used to one thing and you get a routine with that thing, and then, like, something new comes out and then you have to, like, adapt for that, you know what I mean?
Right. I mean, it seems like we're talking about two things, right? We're talking the macro level and the micro level. On the micro level, living in an urban space doesn't necessarily make you as an individual more innovative, right? On a macro level, a higher population density yields greater innovation within the same space, right? So I think it's important to separate the macro level and the micro level, right? Because in some ways we're having two different conversations here. Make sense? Okay, so let's pull this around to you. And let's think about, well, we did that. Look at that, it's another one of those things where I already did it. Let's pause for a little moment of etymology. No? Not entomology. Etymology. Right? The origins of words.
I see.
All right? You like how I built in humor? Okay. So, two words I want to highlight to you. And these words will be very familiar to you. I'm not sure you know what the origins of them are, though. First is essay. Who's ever had to write an essay? I'd be shocked if every hand did not go up. Right? You don't get into the honors program without writing a short essay. Right? So everybody's written an essay. Right? Okay, but here's the thing about the word essay. It comes from Old French, essayer. And essayer means to try. Okay? So, essay is out there for all of my humanities people. Right? Where are the humanities people? I'm just curious. Who's humanities? For real, I want to see hands up. Humanities is like social, like anthropology, sociology, history, English, the arts,
Anything not STEM.
anything not STEM or business, basically. Look at that, so few of us. We're a rare breed. We're unicorns.
Yeah. Right.
We're unicorns. Okay, so essay covers y'all, right? All right, here goes the next one. Interestingly, experiment comes from the Latin experire, meaning to attempt. Essay and experiment are synonyms. They mean to try something out. To try out an idea. Scientific method says you have a hypothesis first. And you try out that hypothesis. In an essay, whether it's literary analysis, a historical study, sociological essay, whatever, you're trying out an idea that you have. That's got to be a result of your own curiosity. It's your attempt to innovate. It's your attempt to see something, formulate an idea, and be innovative by trying it out. So in effect, that's what your classes are asking you to do, to be innovators. Now, hopefully Johnson's book and what we do with it over the rest of the year will introduce you to a variety of different factors that play into innovation. And not all of them are predictable or controllable. But this is why I want you to read the book. If you take away the lessons that Johnson's book has to offer, innovation can be nurtured. Your capacity to think in innovative ways can be developed. And that's what I want to try to do with the book and with inviting these guests in. All right? How's that work? You like how I pulled all that together in the end? Okay, so okay, so next week, please give your attention to Susie Pryor. By give your attention, I mean let's cut down on the chatter. I haven't actually been up here leading things in a while. I'm actually surprised by how distracting it is. Also, the sort of slamming desks down after you sign in the sign-in sheet. Try to do that a little more gently. This is me coaching you to receive our guest well. Okay, so with that, get out of here. Have a great week. Oh, wait, one more thing. This is quick and fun. Oh, if you did not get a sign-in sheet, come up to the front. And the last two volleyball games are tonight and tomorrow.
Hey.
I'll be there with my son if you want to go to a volleyball game. We're ranked 5th in the country right now. third? We've gone up to third. Nice. We were first, then dropped to fifth after we lost to Cal Poly Pomona. We're up to third. And Nikki Tabuena, a sophomore, is in the honors program. She's number 4 on the team. So get out and support the volleyball team this weekend. Have a good weekend.